weekend's Capitol Report. Pat McGuigan is here, and President Obama just gave his State of the Union address. Talk about how it was received, what people thought about it.
I thought it was a speech basically made to his base, which is a little bit restive right now over some of his policies. It wasn't a deep attempt to reach the Republicans whose votes he's going to need, because it, in content, was a pretty polarizing speech. Advocacy of big government, a variety of new programs. He did give a shout out to Oklahoma, which was kind of nice, for the early childhood program, although there's some debate about that program's effectiveness. But he included a lot of points, 6,000 words. It was one of the longer State of the Union addresses. And, you know, he stuck to his guns, both rhetorically and in terms of substance. He doesn't seem terribly interested in bringing budget discipline to the federal process. He wants to grow government.
Okay, talk about Marco Rubio's response and his speech, the GOP's response, really. Yeah,
people were kind of, I guess, focusing on the sip of water, and, you know, I think he just needed a drink of water, so he got one.
That's what I think, yeah.
Right. But on substance, I thought the counterpunch was decent. You know, it was not over the top. He congratulated the president for starting his second term, but he did counterpunch. He talked about you know, a brief listing of the ways in which the president's rhetoric and his supporters' rhetoric takes back all the elements, or many of the elements, of inclusiveness and unity that the president has, you know, frequently tried to project, especially in his first campaign. And he laid out the modest expectations of what government should be doing that reflect a conservative Republican perspective, which is, you know, security, meaning in our homes and in our workplaces, and national defense. And beyond that, you know, government's not supposed to do everything except provide this floor. I thought the language, at least, and the delivery too, about newborn children representing the hope, that's an example of, you know, high-minded rhetoric that I thought was effective. So I gave Rubio good points on the substance of the speech without picking too many fights with the president. It's the president's night, and the Republicans get to respond.
Yeah, okay. Was there anything that surprised you, maybe that President Obama didn't talk about, or did talk about? Anything?
He talked about so much. I was a little surprised. His staff has been doing a pretty good job, even in communicating with the Oklahoma media and myself, about the potential effect of sequestration on individuals, including in defense spending. And that was kind of glossed over, although he was talking about sequestration. He didn't focus a lot on the defense side. That's going to have a big impact in Oklahoma. I've done a lot of reporting on that. They may, in the end, pull back from that, but right now it looks like March 1 that's coming. I was also a little surprised that he didn't do maybe he thought it would be counterproductive, but I was kind of looking for a shout out to the Supreme Court for giving him his way on the Affordable Care Act. And that might have been a classy thing to do, given the stern criticism that he gave a couple of years ago, which was not unprecedented, but nearly so. It was unusual, let's put it that way, for a president to be so specific in his criticisms of the Supreme Court as he was in that earlier speech. So those two things, military spending and the effect of it being taken away, and the Supreme Court. Okay,
and back here in Oklahoma, we've had school board elections this week. Talk about how they turned out and what that means for school boards.
We'll see what it means. I think that arguably at least, the results in Oklahoma City were more dramatic than they were anywhere else. And here's what I mean by that. You had clear advocates of public education, but you could say moderately conservative or reform-minded. All three were elected, including the most significant being the chairman's election, where Angela Monson, the former state senator, certainly a respected person, was defeated narrowly by Lynn Harden. Turnout was very low, but Bob Hammock won on the north side of the city overwhelmingly. He probably ran a very effective campaign in what was an open seat, and then a young man, Justin Ellis, was elected in the heart of town. So you have 3 brand new members of the school board, reform-oriented and supportive of the A to F grading system, which has been controversial.
There's been some controversy with it.
Right, so stay tuned. Let's watch that.
All right. Thanks so much, Pat McGuigan, and have a great weekend, folks.